Australia's unemployment rate for the month of April sits at 3.9%. It is the lowest level we've seen in 48 years. Let's bring you all the details and bring in our business reporter, Edward Boyd. Ed, in its announcement today, the Australian Bureau of Statistics revised the month of March, declaring that the rate actually fell in March to 3.9%, and it's remained flat in April.
That's right. So this is quite unusual. The Bureau of Statistics don't normally do this, but occasionally they revise previous monthly figures. And what they've done today is they've actually revised the month of March. So they've said in the month of March, Australia's unemployment rate actually fell to 3.9%. And then in April, it has remained flat at 3.9%. So in April, there were 4,000 jobs created. The participation rate fell to 66.3%. We had some more stats there we could show you, but this is the unemployment rate tracking since 2019. And you can see it was peaking around 7.4% at the height of the pandemic, and it's now at 3.9%. One of the big things today was about 90,000 full-time jobs were created during the month of April. But I think the biggest story, Ash, is this revision from the Bureau of Statistics. The actual fall in the unemployment rate ended up coming in March, and now it's remained flat in the month of April. So the Reserve Bank will look closely at these numbers, and they are definitely going to lift the cash rate in June. The question was by how much? Would it be 40 basis points or 25 basis points? If the unemployment rate kept falling this month, they would have gone with 40. Now that it's stayed flat at 3.9%, it's very likely the Reserve Bank of Australia will lift the cash rate by 25 basis points in the next couple of weeks.
We will all be watching those moves very closely because they're also going to be wrapping in the wage price index that was released yesterday.
Absolutely. Look, the wage price index yesterday sort of surprised the market. They were expecting stronger wage growth over that period of time. Instead, it was 2.4% annually. So this is wages tracking since 2014, so the last 8 years. And you can see we're pretty much back up to where we were in 2014. But the key info out of the wages numbers yesterday was headline inflation is at 5.1%, rising to roughly 6% by the end of this year, with wages at 2.4%. If you subtract the two, in real terms, wages decreased by 2.7% over the last 12 months to the end of March. So we know cost of living pressures keep rising at the moment, and we've seen that on the stock market today, Ash. We've seen the Australian stock markets plunge today due to fears around inflation and Australian consumers cutting back on their discretionary spending. So you can see the market's down 1.5%. A lot of Australian retail stocks are now worried that Aussies are going to be having to prioritise paying for petrol and household bills and rising costs of fruit and vegetables rather than spending them in discretionary retail stores. So all those companies have been smashed pretty hard today. Overall, the market's down 1.5%. So it's been a tough day for shares here and overseas too.
Ed Boyd, appreciate your analysis. Thank you for that.